Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me. Down the inside, absolutely possible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronard takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Yarda Watmere is your champion.
Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody to PSGL, and we are here for the final round of PCF2, and it is at Brazil. I'm Lindsay Muddle in the commentary box. You might not have seen me before, but you'll definitely have seen my co-commentator here in the box tonight. Welcome in, Omi.
Yes, thank you very much, Lindsay. Great to be back, and absolutely, it has been so interesting. It has been a great season, and today's our finale. Few things. We need to get to qualifying because we've got a one-shot quali because rain's coming apparently. But congratulations, Angelo Di Hortensio. You are a two-time PSGL PCF2 champion. That's out of the way, and we're here for the final round because of the cancellation of Mexico. We'll talk about more of that later.
Yep, and now we are down on the track, so you can currently see on the timing tower that Tony Hightower is sitting on provisional pole position with a 106.3. No rain coming down as of just yet, but people still making their way around the circuit. Larry Tulke yet to set a lap time at this point. He's currently making his way around the lap. Now he's set a 107.0 to start his qualifying session. I'm not sure if people are setting double out laps or they're stuck in the train or what is going on there, but 106.3 being the current provisional pole time, but you can see everybody is absolutely rampant out there. They know that rain is on the way by the looks of it.
Absolutely, they all shooted out of the pit lane, and the reason was due to the rain. We've seen rain come in so many times before at Interlagos, a venue which is known, of course, for some great finales in the past as well. Not one for us this year, but such a quick start to the session as the drivers had to go straight out on the attack for our final qualifying session of the season, which of course has one bonus point available for pole position for the driver who can get the fastest time.
Yeah, and I think that is already it, because the rain is falling, and it's falling heavily. So I think that Hightower with the 106.335 might already have this one in the palm of his hand here as everybody's pulling into the pit lane. We've already had Pasquale Ranieri retire from the session, so that could very well be it here. That could be your pole time.
Absolutely. Well, Brazil was always going to give a little bit of drama straight from the off. And there we go. That is great stuff coming in exactly when required from Hietala, who started the season opener from pole position. May have a chance to start our final race of the season from pole position. That 1 minute 6.335, so critical for him. And it is a Racing Bulls 1 and 2, timing things to absolute perfection there. And they look like that they will lock out the front row unless the circuit somehow dries out. But from the language of how everyone went straight out there as well, from how they're all acting, I don't expect this to dry up, and we're expecting drivers to retire, which is already what we're seeing with a few of them.
Yep, 100%. And now I think we can go back to the comms corner safely here while we wait for everybody to retire. But yeah, that's definitely one way to start. We were already a bit late here in the commentary box due to various F1 game difficulties, and then we get in and the laps are pouring in, and now we have our pole sitter already as everybody's retiring. The DRS has been disabled, so that is absolutely going to be it here. With 12 minutes to go in this qualifying session, I don't think we're going to see another car out on the track in that period of time.
Absolutely not going to be expected to see any more drivers setting some lap times. So yes, we can safely come back here and, well, give a moment to your champion. Because of course, we were expecting another round to be heading our way at Mexico. That's been cancelled. So we left Las Vegas being like, okay, all's good. We will crown Angelo, most likely our champion, today. But no, due to the cancellation of Mexico, this is our final round, and it is it. It is it after this, meaning that Angelo Diotentia becomes the first ever two-time champion in PC Tier 2 history. The most dominant champion, I think a lot could argue as well. Let us know your thoughts for a lot of our older viewers on who you may think could be getting that title. Has it changed, or do we think it could be going Angelo Diotentia's way? But he has been absolutely remarkable across this season and a deserving champion as well. Season 38 and now joined with season 40 as well, and that is a great season put together. And now he can, well, he's not here with us, so he's participating in another competition, so he's done the job nice and early, and that is really it for his season.
Yeah, and a championship early and delivered there for Diotenzio, and he's just, yeah, he's not here. He's decided to pack it up, Kimi Räikkönen style, and go home early. And yeah, that's fair enough. It's a very, very long and hard-fought championship here in PSGL, especially in F2, and managing to bring it home before the season's even over. It's so impressive there from Angelo.
It really, really is. So, as we expect to see, we've got drivers. Who, well, we've got two of them who are still not retiring, and the tier chat right now is going quite wild, telling them to retire, so we don't have to go through the remaining 10 minutes of this qualifying session as well. So there will be some stewards inquiries, I'm certain, because there are quite a few drivers who are annoyed with what happened, with a bit more of a different styled start to the session. Some drivers, of course, went early. They were getting their foot down, so you're more likely to get a bit more collisions, a bit more issues and stuff going on. So I believe there will be some stuff possibly heading to the stewards as well. And there could be some stuff involving slipstream as well. So there's a lot to look to. There's a lot to look at for the stewards after this. So we'll see what takes place, but only one driver in our session is left to retire, as he gets spam pinged in our tier chats to do that as well. So, well, what a way to start our final weekend of Season 40.
Yeah, definitely a manic way to start here, and yeah, that's going to leave a V-Carb 1-2 as well. Tony Hightower and Luca Rapassa sitting 1 and 2, and then P3 will be Gabriel Quintino, as there we go, the last driver does retire from the session. So we'll run through the full order now. So it is Hightower on pole from Luca Rapassa, then you have Gabriel Quintino, Liam Stevens, Ben Sabaconi, Diego Zorzo, Piotr Stachelak. Sorry, apologies for the pronunciation there. Could you, Omi, did I get that one?
You did. Well done.
Okay, and then you have Sergio Sabrino, Nelson Alves, Cameron Dowds, Florian Van Zelter, Conrad Bohm, Rishan Jacobs, Reyes Imtiaz, and then I'm sure we'll see the rest in a moment. But we are now getting ready for the race start. So, Omi, what are your predictions now? You don't really have much to work off of. We had one run in qualifying. But what would you say?
Well, main title contenders aren't going to play a factor, so I think that's important to say as well. Champions already sealed. We could possibly see something for second, so we'll keep an eye on that. In terms of predictions, all to play for, but I think we've got an interesting front row, and Tony Hietala is a driver who wants to go and chase a win this season, so I'm sure he's going to go all in for that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure of it as well, and he'll be battling through and through with Luca Rapassa and anybody else that tries to get in the way of him and victory. But there's a bit of a split strategy here. I've heard at Brazil, the two-stop a potential possibility here, and you never know when it comes to Brazil. As we saw in qualifying, anything can happen, so we could see a plethora of events when it comes to strategy.
Really could. So these are nervy moments as we prepare for our final race of the season, season 40. It's been a tough season for lots, and it's been a glorious season for some of those contenders who we've mentioned who've been able to get themselves to the front. So we're looking forward to one good final race, and if we can get some strategy thrown in, that's perfect.
Yep, so now we come to the 5 red lights here for the final round of F2 this season, and we're underway for racing action. Hightower does get off to a good start. Rapasa trying to pressure in towards turn 1, and he goes late on the brakes. They're side by side through the center S's, and Hightower holds the lead. Meanwhile, Ben Sabaconi moves up past Diego Zorzo, who drops back behind Quintino, as well as Sergio Sabrino, as well, trying to make up place as we head down the Reta Raposta, and towards the Descida Del Lago they go, and there's a big bit of contact there down the straight. They're 3 wide heading into the Descida Del Lago, and that is a Ferrari. It's Quintino off the track and down into P18, and it's absolute carnage here off the race start. These drivers not giving each other an inch as Rashawn Jacobs is around the outside now of turn 8, and now he's still trying it the long way round down the hill through turn number 9, and now he's going to have the outside line for Biko Tapato against Piotr Stachulek, and he loses the place, but he's still not backing out, and there we go. They go single file. Meanwhile, as well, further down the back, Conrad and Ranielli are going side by side, heading into the final braking zone around the lap, and now Ranielli's down the inside of Larry Tulke, and he gets that one done as here comes Conrad once again fighting it back, but it's Hightower leading the field from Rapasa, from Stevens, from Sabaconi to end out lap 1.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Rapasa not holding back at all, and that also applies to Conrad Bohm, trying to dive bomb up against Tulke. Not the only battle going on. Our reserve driver of Fanzelter getting himself and edging out Rishan Jacobs there as he loses a place, and up 3 places goes Fanzelter from where he started the race. Down into turn 4 we go. The whole field starting to condense up on the opening lap. Nothing to separate our top 2 as well. Here Tala with Rapasa directly in behind. Might be in the same car, but there is nothing to separate them, and Rapasa not holding back one bit.
Yep. Absolutely not. They're battling hammer and tong here, and they went side by side. Rapasa really did go for it at turn 1, but he just couldn't get it done. He was forced so far to the inside. Hightower placing his car so well, and Liam Stevens as well sitting on the back of them at the edge of the top 3, and Sabaconi looking to break through as well, 5 tenths behind him. A long couple of straights here at Brazil, so breaking DRS is going to be quite tricky for anybody, so I would imagine we're going to have a little bit of a train here, as we've come to expect with F125, and they're going to battle away the whole way through, and I think that strategy is going to be a crucial element. But here comes Rapasa down the inside of Hightower, and he takes the lead and the fastest lap, but he runs a little bit deep there. Here comes Hightower as they head through Curva do Sol, and now onto the Reta Raposta. DRS will be wide open on the back of the Racing Bulls as well as they head towards the Descida Del Lago, but nothing changing once again. But Rapasa now your new race leader.
Absolutely. Here we go then. There was battling going on further back. Battling still going on further back. Rishan Jacobs banging wheels with Cameron Dowds there as he tried to find a way through. Meanwhile, the Italian, Ranielli, trying to get past the Italian car, and he'll do so. He'll move up to P13. Molnar drops down. Molnar, who's come in as a full-time driver for that Ferrari seat in place of Benzoni over the last few rounds, and he is currently running in 14th, looking to try and end the season on a high, and he's going to now try, and we see further back as well his teammate go for a bit of an attempt up against Gabble. Couldn't get there though, and that is Quintino, who is trying to score his first points of the season. He's the only driver to not do so in season 40.
Yep, and these drivers are really going at it. They're not giving each other an inch here as Nelson Alves is looking very close behind Rashawn Jacobs heading in towards turn 1, and he is going to have the outside line. Rashawn just defending a little bit there as they head through the center S. Alves will now have the cutback and the better exit as they head through Curva do Sol. It's Williams on Williams racing here as they open the DRS on the back of their cars, and now heading down the Reta Raposta and into the Descida Del Lago they go. Nelson Alves forced to the outside line. He gets pushed onto the grass on the entry. He does a good job to keep the car in check, but now here comes Reyes Imtiaz as they head towards turn 6 and turn 7, and that is a place lost there for Alves because he tried to battle Rashawn Jacobs in towards the end of the straight.
Fantastic stuff then. All action start. Lap number 4 we find ourselves on out of 36. Our race leader chasing what would be his 3rd win in PSGL PCF2. He's been a contender for quite a while. He's been a driver who's been on the attack across our tier over the last few seasons, and he's going to look to try and get another good result. 8 podiums he's had over his time in the second tier, and today he'll be chasing his 9th as he looks to try and end season 40 on a high. That applies to so many drivers. Hietala has mentioned that he's been struggling and he's been trying to get a result, which he can be satisfied with. Second place would do, but when he knows that there is only one car ahead of him denying him the victory, he'll want to try and get there. But remember, this is only lap number 5, still a long way to go, still strategy phase to come. He'll be happy that he finds himself at least at the front. It gives you options to try and do something with the strategy, or possibly if there is any form of drama with a safety car as well. We've not had many safety cars, only one this season, and that came at our race at Silverstone.
Yeah, safety cars not common, but you never know, especially when it comes to Brazil. Everything is possible, especially when you have that big outside wall coming through turn 6 and 7. If somebody tries to go side by side there, it could end in disaster and cause a safety car, and there's a plethora of other things that could cause one as well. But while we have a little lull period in the battling, let's take a look at the tyres. So everybody starting on the mediums, and whether they're going for a 1-stop or a 2-stop, that is yet to be seen, as well as position changes. Rapassa up 1, Hietala down 1, but the furthest mover at the moment is Pasquale Ranielli. He sits 5 places up as Quintino, the biggest loser, sitting 14 places down.
Absolutely. That's how we have seen the race start and the first few laps go. Quite a few changes in position. Things now starting to settle down a little bit as the drivers now realise that we're still in the early stages of a race that runs in total to 36 laps. So the drivers now begin to settle in, look at what point of the race they are at, and discuss with the engineer any possibilities and possibly where they could go with the strategy. Because remember, overtaking is tricky on this game. I think we've established that too much across this season. We've mentioned it so much to you on the broadcast, but it is just reality. So you've got to, with a driver and engineer combo, you've got to work together to try and see what could possibly be the best option. Could it be going for a bit of an undercut? What can you do to try and bolt your way forward? And that's what they will be looking at the moment. In terms of our top 2, if they remain in those positions, whoever is the second car, well, they will not be able to pit on the same lap as the leading Racing Bulls, of course, due to the same pit box. So in terms of if you want to have the control over the strategy, it might be a good idea to be the leader. Talking about strategy, Sabrino and Stauchilek are the first ones to blink on lap 7.
Yes, and they did lose DRS, which I think is why they've decided to box as Quintino and Larry Tulke as well into the pit lane. But yeah, they both lost DRS to the top 5. And then I think from there they knew it was time to come into the pit lane. So now they're going to be left to push on, try the undercut strategy. And now they have a long way to go on these tyres. So I would hazard a guess and say this could be 2-stop time for some of these drivers that have boxed this lap.
Really could. So here we go. One go the hard compound of tyres. Sergio Sabrino fighting away with the car on the pit exit. One of those where you have to get your foot to the floor. Then try and make sure that your race does not come to an end at the pit and exit as you make your way turning left. That's a moment there for Cameron Dowd. He finds himself dropping down and now wheel to wheel with Molnar, who's getting through on the inside. Such a disappointment for Dowd, who came into this season as one of our strongest contenders from the data that we had of how he performed in F3. New game cycle, of course, can change things. It did. Dowd still has been able to put together some great pace across the season, but the results haven't been there to always match, and unfortunately he finds himself dropping down as more pit stops happen, and Dowd's now defending from Conrad Bohm, who's the next customer to try and get by.
Yep, and this is now going to be a moment of pressure here for Cameron Dowd as he has the McLaren chomping on his heels as they head down the Rota Reposta. Is Conrad going to go for it? No, he's not. There's a couple of people coming out of the pit lane now. Florian Van Zelter being the one leading this little pack here as they all pile out of the pit lane. And what a train of cars that is coming out together as they're going to be drag racing potentially here on the exit between Gabriel Quintino and Ranielli as they slot into the back of this train, as Sergio Sabrino as well slots into 16th behind Ranielli. And now everybody's going to be left to push on once again as still the 2 leaders, the top 3 actually, still not boxed. Rapassa, Hietala, and Liam Stevens, and you can't forget Sabaconi or Zorzo as well. They are still yet to box, so still a lot of pit stops yet to be happening here, but a lot of early boxes here in this race. Speaking of, Rapassa, Stevens, Sabaconi, and Zorzo all come in.
couple pit stops then coming into play. Will be interesting to see where these drivers rejoin. On that lap that they made their way through 1 lap ago, I should say, there was very nearly some side-by-side between Rapasa and Hietala. So exactly what we were mentioning in terms of when it comes to pit stop phase, you kind of want to be the lead racing bulls to have the reins of what goes on. Now let's see them rejoin the circuit. Fastest lap going the way of Stouchilek. It is going to be Rapasa trying to get his foot to the floor. Won't be able to get ahead of Stouchilek though. Stouchilek will rejoin. He'll be ahead, and he is our net race leader on the circuit. Then it's Rapasa, then it's Stevens as they make their way through. And meanwhile, Rishan Jacobs flying his way past Fanzalta, who drops down to 11th as they rejoin the circuit as well. Now those are 2 drivers who'd already made their pit stop 1 lap ago, so that's just a switch with the DRS.
Yeah, and the undercut didn't work for them though. These are the 2 drivers that didn't have DRS and came in because of it, and now they're still 1.1 seconds out, so they need to find an extra 1/10 of a second if they want to be back within the DRS train, and staying in that DRS is absolutely imperative here, especially around a track with such long straights like Brazil. He's going to work very hard here to try and get back within, but at the moment it's not working for him, as now we see Hietala and Cameron Dowds into the pit lane here on lap number 10. So 26 laps to go here around Brazil, and still a lot of questions to be asked and a lot of strategy to play out, as Rashawn Jacobs now taking the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely, as he takes the fastest lap. Meanwhile, at the same time, he was battling up against Rishan Jacobs there. We've also got some battling going on. Liam Stevens was looking to try and get past Stouchilek, couldn't do so. Hietala's rejoined the road, and he finds himself now quite a few places behind, as Rapasa is now ahead of Stouchilek, so that is going to be net lead heading the way of Rapasa. And yeah, as you mentioned, the undercut not really working. It did work for Stouchilek, but that's because he was 2 laps. He came in 2 laps prior to some of those other drivers, so that was more time for him to get the rubber embedded into the circuit and then go on the attack as well compared to his rival, so that worked out quite nicely in that situation. 2 more drivers still to come in, that's Molnar and Conrad Bohm, and then it will be Rapasa who will take over the race lead on the circuit, and then we'll start to get an idea of how this race is looking to form. Bohm comes in, Molnar continues on.
Yeah, so this is really interesting stuff here as Bohm comes in, and he is just strapping on a fresh set of hard tyres as Fanzalta sets the fastest lap of the race, still trying to break inside the DRS range, and in fact he has gotten there. So now that gap only 9/10 of a second, so the train should be back together once again. He's just got to now stay inside that gap as Bohm is going to come off the back of the field pretty significantly here. He's going to come out just behind Larry Tulke, but very far off the back of the main train.
Absolutely, as they navigate their way through. Imtiaz has had a bit of a struggling season across this campaign, looking to just try and end it on a high here at Interlagos. He is one of our F3 champions of the past. We've had a great F3 championship battle. It is great to have your company if you're joining us from the F3 title battle, the 3-way one that was going on a few moments ago. So we don't have a title battle for you here, but what we do have is some great and brilliant racing, and a race that is wide open in terms of who's going to win, because we don't have Halliday, we don't have Diotentius. Molnar gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but we don't find us. So Molnar's also going to retire, but we don't have Halliday, we don't have Diotentia, we don't have 2 of those big hitters that we've seen across this season who have been able to get quite a few wins to their name. So it is one of those days where it is wide open, and it already has been due to what we saw with qualifying, with it being a 1-lap shootout.
Yeah, I think qualifying really threw a spanner into the works for a few of these drivers. They spend so much time practicing for a quali scenario and for race scenarios as well, but they wouldn't have been expecting to be put on the spot in effectively a 1-shot qualifying, and that really did mix up the order, and that's obviously going to affect how this race pans out as well, with how tricky it is to overtake. And now as they continue to push on, I think we're just seeing a little bit of the effects of this game. A couple of cars just struggling to really get their nose in anywhere, struggling to overtake, and it doesn't help that Stachulek has a 2-lap tyre offset as well. This is allowing Rapasa to get away, and in fact I think Liam Stevens might get a bit of a move on here as they head towards turn 1. So the Alpine is going to be looking to defend. Liam Stevens only 3/10 off the back of the rear wing as they head towards turn 1. Is Stevens going to go for it? No, he's put the battery back into none, and he's going to continue to sit in the train, and I think that these drivers know it's not really time to attack unless it looks like Piotr is going to lose the DRS. So I think it's just a game of being patient and waiting for the right opportunity.
Really is indeed, as we make our way through, and the right opportunity does come on lap number 13 for Jacobs to gain a place. He's been able to fly past Van Zelter. Those two have been going at it for a few laps now, and Tony Hietala, meanwhile, he's trying to get really close, diving to the inside. Tony Hietala, who was on pole for this race, finds himself in 5th, trying to get past Ben Sabakoni. He is placing the car perfectly, exactly where he needs to at the moment is the Alpine driver. Larry Tulkik finds himself with a 3-second time penalty as well. He bolted his way up in the standings after his result last time out of a P6. So he's a driver who's another one of those who can find themselves with a roll call of just trying to end this season on a high to try and maintain their spot in F2, because we have got some great F3 drivers who will be definitely looking to see whether there's an opportunity to get promotion, and if there is, we could see some drivers having to face the demotion down into the 3rd tier if they've not had good seasons.
Yeah, and I think in F3, people looking at promotion could be drivers who are in the championship fight, like Isaac Leet or Gregory Prisball or Campbell Adams. They are all definite contenders for being inside F2 next season. So a lot of these F2 drivers that are further down, they really are going to want to end their season on a high note, because that would hopefully for them secure a spot in F2 for next season. There's still a lot of racing to go here, but it's looking like this race is shaping up to be quite closely contended. So I think that a lot of drivers will have opportunity to move further forward as this race goes on.
Absolutely. So it is now going to be a race which we will be arriving in a few laps time to a half race distance as well. We've already got through the first bit of the pit stop phase in this one. Chulki, the only driver who has a penalty next to his name so far. He's running in 17th place, 2.6 seconds off the next car. That is Conrad Bohm, a driver who has found himself a couple of times in PSGL being able to get himself to a pole. He's looking to be a contender though when it comes to races, I'm sure, a bit more often as well. It's been an okay season, I think it is fair to say, for Conrad Bohm, but I think he would have definitely wanted more. He would have expected more as well. But I think it was always going to be hard when we found ourselves coming into this season with 2 former champions on the grid, and one of them did convert to become a 2-time
Oh, sorry to cut you off there. There's been an incident there, and Alves and Sabrino came together through turn 6 and turn 7. As oh no, Alves has been spun around there by the Sauber of Dowds, as Alves had already taken a trip off into the air. He hit a bump on the outside of the circuit after contact. He went over the grass and then got damage, and then has been hit again. Sabrino is missing an end plate as well. That's huge contact and a race-ending incident there pretty much for Alves, as he's going to be so far off the back, and that is a huge incident there, and the damage for Sabrino is not going to help his case either, as he's pulling into the pit lane. That is absolute travesty here in the final round, and that's going to be a pit and quit there for Sergio Sabrino, and I would imagine Alves will follow suit. That is not what you want in the final round of the championship, but they're going to have to move on as Rashawn Jacobs moves up past Van Zelter, but that was such a huge crash.
3 drivers gone in that incident, and we find ourselves down to 14. My word, that was dramatic. Absolutely ludicrous stuff as we currently now fight our way through the second sector. That's what we were talking about in terms of the risk is always there to get an incident like that, which can cause a safety car, which can cause the race to completely transform. And well, in this case we don't, but you are always very close around a circuit like this to have a moment like that, especially when the battles do go up to Ferradura, where it is always a pinch point. We've had real-life crashes there as well between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc in 2022, and we've seen it in the virtual world as well. You've definitely got to be brave to get an overtake done at that part of the circuit. Meanwhile, top 2 continuing on as they were, 0.5 of a second. It's all about just getting close to the back of Repassa, being within range. And if you can be a few tenths behind, you've got a chance to go on the attack to try and gain a place.
Yep, 100%. And this track is all about getting close enough, and especially with the middle sector's dirty air, it does make it difficult at times. And I think that Liam Stevens is also proving that it's pretty difficult to overtake, because I think that since the beginning of this second stint of the race, Piotr, he hasn't been slow, but I think that Liam Stevens and Ben Sabakonyi and Hightower have been a little bit quicker, but they just haven't been able to get past him, so they're just having to wait. And Piotr's still just struggling to get close enough to the back of Rapasa. And in fact, Rapasa has been close to breaking DRS a few times, although not quite getting it done. And this lap, an example, about 8 tenths of a second, but that just isn't enough. Once the rear flap opens on the rear wing of Statulex Alpine, he just closes it all back up. But I think that Stevens, Sabakonyi and Hightower, and anybody else behind like Zorzo will definitely be seeing that and getting a little bit frustrated.
Well, at the moment, indeed, half race distance is now reached. Liam Stevens, I think, was just trying to get closer and closer to Piotr. He will now be looking at this situation and being like, okay, does Statulex have the pace to remain with leader? At the moment, yes, but will his tyres start to fade away? 2 laps can sometimes be the difference. So it'll be interesting to see how Liam Stevens will play this. If he can get close enough, I'm sure he'll just use that bit of battery to try and force his way by. Ben Sabakonyi's up there as well. Alpine getting a good result as it stands, and I'm sure they'll be absolutely delighted with how this one is running at the moment. You've got a 6-car train at the front to win this, and Diego Zorzo, great to see him also in this fight. He fought for the F3 title that I mentioned Imtiaz won a few seasons ago, season 38, but unfortunately due to Wi-Fi issues lost his chance, and he has been ever since been able to get some accolades up here in the second tier, but something that he'll want to build upon. Next season he will hope whichever tier he finds himself in.
Yeah, and that is part of the second season. It's very much more difficult because everybody's more up to practice, but as Imtiaz, there's contact there between Rashawn Jacobs and Imtiaz, as now Quintino's attacking the Sauber in towards the Descida de Lago as they head down the road of Aposta. And now they're going to be wheel-to-wheel, the Ferrari on the outside line, and he's still trying to show the nose, but he's going to back out of it as Imtiaz holding on to 9th position, but the Ferrari's not done yet. Here comes Quintino. He tries the outside. It's almost like the incident with Alves, but they don't make contact and fly off the track. They keep it wheel-to-wheel. But back to what I was saying, the second season of the F1 game is always more tricky because everybody's more up-practiced. Everybody has gotten closer to whatever the best setups are, and strategies are all locked in, but that's what makes it all the greater when you perform better in the second season. I think we'll see a lot of drivers take that step up next season around in season 41, and that'll definitely be something to keep an eye on.
It absolutely will. Into the pit lane we go with Tony Hietala, sat there for long. He was the one who he was the one who lost out really earlier on, as Fanzelter gets a 10-second time penalty as he sped into the pit lane. But yeah, he was the one who lost out, so he's gone early. He's been joined at the same time by, we've got Tulki who found him, Tulki continued on. It was Rishan Jacobs and Fanzelter who found themselves coming in. Meanwhile, we're side by side, and Quintino finding himself up to 6th position. Now, I know cars have come in, but before anyone came in, he was running in the points, and with that position gained, it would have been a net 9th at that time. So, a driver who's not managed any points this season, could he do it at the final? Opportunity to mean that every driver this season in PCF2 has scored a point next to their name.
Well, it's looking like it at the moment. He's absolutely flying out there, and this is going to be a great opportunity for Quintino as he's still continuing to lap around this circuit, and as he will continue to circulate for the next 16 laps as Dowds leads the session, but he'd already retired. Quintino looking very strong at the moment, and this is only going to play into his hand as now he's going to pull the trigger to pull into the pit lane, because with the undercut as well, he could find himself utilizing that undercut to break DRS, or even better, close up to some more cars, so he could move even further forward in this field. This is absolutely great stuff from him, and he's looking like he's on for his first points of the season, but I think all eyes at the moment should be to Hightower, because he's pulled this big undercut. Rapasa not in. Stachulek not in, anybody from that front train except himself not into the pit lane yet. There's 15 laps to go. What is he going to manage here? Is everybody else also going to be doing the two-stop strategy, or is he pulling a big gamble here? This is really going to be interesting to watch.
Will be indeed. Here we go. Could it be a final race of some strategic masterclass coming out of some drivers' final opportunity to perform? And it's the final chance to try and secure yourself for another season in F2. I know we are talking about it a lot, but there really has been quite a bit of a conversation, and we're not expecting many drivers, we'll be honest with you, we're not expecting many drivers to find themselves getting promoted from F3 from what we've heard, but if you are at the bottom, you don't know who could go, because I'm sure they will be looking at circumstances rather than just standings and results that have taken place across this season. So pace will be looked at, and there'll be so much looked at as well. But for now, in the race, we've got pit stops, and we've got Rapasa, who's also found his way in. Of course, he was leading the way. Stachulek's also come in as well. Into the pit lane came Torquay to retire, so that becomes another retirement from this race, our 5th of the contest.
Yep, and Hightower has pulled the undercut to perfection. He is now ahead of Rapasa, so that is exactly what he wanted to be seeing, and he is now effectively the net leader of this race if everybody else is to come into the box. But the actual leader out on the circuit at the moment, that award goes to Ben Sabakonyi, and he'll continue to push on in this one. But that undercut has worked really well, but now he has to deal with a little bit of a tyre offset. But as we saw from Piotr, who tried to stay behind Rapasa and managed to stay behind Rapasa, that deficit is not too large.
It isn't. And here we go. Things are about to get interesting. Racing Bulls finding themselves back together on the circuit. Now does Tony Hietala try break clear? I mean, he was having a go. It's much more easier for us to say in the commentary box to make this overtake than it is out there actually trying to do so. But you can see that he's getting closer in towards the center S. But luckily, in his case, the opportunity doesn't end here. You navigate your way through turn 2, turn 3, and then foot to the floor we go. And there's another opportunity depending on whether he wants to try use the battery or be too far back that time by. Didn't actually get the momentum that he would have wanted. But now Rapasa finds himself in a scenario where he'll need to try an overtake, or he could be left vulnerable to Stachulek. So many games can be played, and we've got Liam Stevens in there. We've got a train forming once again, and a train, unlike the last stint, that won't just be sitting there. They will be going for dive bombs. They will be going for any opportunities that come their way.
Yeah, this is gloves off now. This will be the last 13 laps and the last stint for these drivers in this whole season, not just this race. So they are going to be well and truly going for it, as Rapasa is definitely falling back into the arms of Stachulek, who's actually showing the nose there, just making Rapasa know that he needs to get a move on there, heading through the final braking zone. And this is now really becoming a problem for Rapasa. He's falling away from Hightower so much, but the DRS should just come back and save him now, as in towards the center S actually. He's going to have a go, and he's going to go down the inside as Stachulek goes late on the brakes, and now he's side by side with Hightower, and he gets it done. That was fantastic there from Stachulek to get that one done. Hightower caught napping, and now here comes Liam Stevens heading down the Rota Aposta in towards the Descida de Lago. He's not going to go for it, but Hightower absolutely got done there down the inside. Stachulek, that was a very Daniel Ricciardo-esque last of the late breakers move there at the center S, and that was fantastic stuff from him.
Absolutely fantastic as they now make their way through, but a driver who didn't get to play any part in that was Liam Stevens. He'll want to change that because he's absolutely nudging Hietala through. He's trying to get his way onto a podium spot. He's going late on the brakes at the moment. He'll try rotate the car, and he'll definitely be using a bit of the battery to try and make an overtake. Round the final few corners we go, and then the last braking zone comes up, and then it is going to be now all about the battery usage. They'll both have DRS due to Hietala being inside the 1 second of Stachulek ahead. Does Liam Stevens try and take this position away? It looks like at the moment Hietala also deploying some of the battery, so there won't be any changes into the center S. But can he now set up a good exit out of this corner? Meanwhile, further back, Sorzo has got past Quintino. That is 8th and 9th. That has switched positions as well. But it's Rapasa, then Stachulek, then Hietala, and Liam Stevens, who will maintain order into the Cena de Lago. And meanwhile, Fanzelt is also part of this train, but we've got to remember he's got a penalty next to his name.
Yep, that penalty is going to be such a hindrance. That is really disappointing for Fanzelta, because what result could they be looking at if they didn't have that 10-second time penalty from speeding into the pit lane? We'll probably find out if they stay inside this train. Wherever they finish would have been where they could have been, but mistakes happen, and in the final race of the season, that is just really disappointing there for Fanzelta, just to speed into the pit lane. It's such a simple mistake, but it's such a costly one, especially here at Brazil. It's so easy to do the pit lane entry, so fast in its nature, but it happens sometimes, and Fanzelta is going to have to live with that one, as now we look to Zorzo, who's trying to attack Rashawn Jacobs in towards turn 1. He's got the DRS wide open, and now he's going to try the outside line. Rashawn defending. He goes late on the brakes, but Zorzo brakes later, and he gets the place, moves up into 7th position as Sabaconi sets the fast lap. Now Conrad takes that one away, a 108.7 off the back of the field there for Conrad Bohm, and he'll continue to push on, but that was a good move there from Zorzo around the outside, as Liam Stevens as well in this front train. He just can't get a nose in. It's what happens when so many cars have DRS in front, because I truly do think that he has the pace here. He just can't quite get the nose in.
Yeah, the headache that he'll be getting right now of being stuck behind Hietala. He is close, so close, and you find yourself in this annoying fourth position as well, we have to say, because, well, when it all happened, it was between the top 3. Sometimes it may open the door for Ford, but the chances that you'll get some drama between the top 2, and maybe Hietala might be able to capitalize. So you at least want to be third. You at least want to be in the top 3, heading on to that final lap to be a contender, because you need a lot to go wrong then on the 36th tour. Now, we have seen wilder things, but the chance of that is quite unlikely. We are going to see an overtake, though, in towards the first corner, because that is Ben Sabaconi, who gets one to the inside, not the only one. Same applies to Quintino. Jacobs tries to open up the steering wheel and make this a battle in a few meters' time to try and retake this position. So Quintino, chasing his first points of the campaign, has got the place for the moment. But does Rashawn Jacobs fight back? He's getting closer and closer, but decides to sit in behind, so he cannot fight his way through at the moment. And he's also got damage to the front wing. He's got an end plate that is missing on the left-hand side, so that is also another thing that he's had in this race.
Yeah, as another swap as well was Imtiaz and Ranielli. They swapped around heading into turn number 4. But let's just take a look at the tyre situation so we can see the deficit. So Ben Sabaconi, who's just joined the back of the train, is on 3-lap-old hard tyres, and Hietala has the oldest tyres in the train. His tyres are 7 laps old, so that's a 4-lap difference there between the tyres. That is quite the deficit, but other than that, Ben Sabaconi only has 2-lap deficits over the cars in front of him, excluding Hietala, but that still can be quite significant at the end of a race, as Sabaconi is looking to the inside now. Now he's forced the outside, and he is trying to get it done on Liam Stevens using the tyre advantage, but he can't get it done through the centre S. Now, what about the run in towards the Descida de Largo as he's in the DRS down the road to Raposta? Stevens defending the inside. Sabaconi forced the long way around. The Alpine now trying to prioritise the exit, but Stevens placing the car well and holds onto the place for the moment, but Sabaconi is not done yet. In towards turn 6 and 7, he sweeps the long way round, and he's going to get it done. Will Stevens fight it back? No, he's not going to, and that is a fantastic move. The long way round from Sabaconi, and he'll be proud of that one, and now it's only onwards and upwards here for him. Hietala is the next car he needs to get past.
Absolutely fantastic move. He sent it the long way round of Ferradiri. We mentioned the risk that there can be for a driver attempting something like that. Risk thrown out of the window. Reward is taken for Ben Sabaconi. 4th position now. He's a step away from the podium, which Stevens found himself staring at for so long, but he sees that chance fade away and get further away from him as we head into the final stages of the season. 3/10 in it between our top 2 down into the centre S, and now Ben Sabaconi is going to look to try go hunting and get himself to 3rd position, and then possibly go for a chance of the win as well. And this is a great race for the Alpine squad. We've got a car in 2nd, we've got a car in 4th, and they both have the chance to move forward.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic stuff from the 2 of them, and they are putting together quite the impressive race as Imtiaz gets back past Ranielli further down. just another battle to keep an eye on. But this lead train so close together, and I think that Sabakonyi's not done yet. I think he could very well end up in the podium places, especially with the tyre offset that he has to the car in front of him of Hightower. This could be very easily done here, potentially, from Sabakonyi. A 4-lap tyre difference is nothing to write home, nothing to not write home about. That's very significant, and I think that's going to make it pretty easy for him. But then again, the dirty air still is out there. It's still being pretty significant, and I think that Sabakonyi might have a harder time than I potentially think, but this is still definitely an opportunity.
It is indeed an opportunity also further back for Zorzo. That is taken up against his Red Bull teammate for this weekend, not full-time. Fanzelta, he's been one of our reserve drivers, and yes, such a shame that he's got that penalty because, well, we've mentioned the championship. He right now finds himself second last in it, so that'll be very disappointing for him in the situation that he won't be able to get these extra points that could have bolted his way forward in a major way. Talking about trying to go forward, Imtiaz is trying to do that. Ranielli's also in this train as well. Some 3 drivers battling for this 9th place at the moment in time. We've got a great fight out front. We've got a great fight further back. It is one of those races which we're just ending the season on a high as well. So it is getting closer and closer in towards the braking zone, and Imtiaz going to look to try to set things up, but I think a driver to keep an eye on is going to be Ben Sabakonyi, because we've already seen him go on the attack today, and I think he's going to be looking for exactly that. He gets the DRS open, he'll be getting closer and closer, he's got battery to burn, the center S is coming up, and it won't be an opportunity to make an overtake, but what about setting things up from here? The driver who finds himself in 4th, trying to improve to P3, he's had a podium in PCF 2 on 3 separate occasions, trying to make it 4 now, battery enabled, getting closer and closer to Hietala, who is going to be able to defend this position. But now, what about the exit? Could it be Ferradura again? Could it be a double overtake at this part of the circuit? He's definitely getting closer. He's going to look for it, this time to the inside line. Brave stuff from Ben Sabakonyi. Another podium on the cards. Another podium at the moment taken. 3rd position. Now, can he go win it? 2 cars are ahead.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move, and as you said, 2 cars stand between himself and victory here with 5 laps to go, and Sabakonyi is absolutely flying, and the tyre deficit will only come more to his advantage as this race goes on. This race is only coming towards him as they get further and further in. There's not long to go. He has quite the gap to close, but DRS should do that for him. This is absolutely enthralling stuff, and it's still far from over, as now Stachulek actually might be attacking Rapasa in towards turn 1. He is going to attack in towards turn 1, and Stachulek takes the lead of this race for the first time since his undercut, and that is fantastic stuff from him, and Rapasa is now going to be trying to counter-attack. No, he's going to save the battery as Sabakonyi is only getting closer. What about Liam Stevens? He's pulling out of the slipstream, trying to make Hightower make a mistake, but this is fantastic stuff. Sabakonyi sitting 8/10 behind, and this is really going to be a close finish here with 4 laps to go. As let's take a look at that deficit again. It is only a 2-lap tyre deficit, but that is significant. It's 10-lap-old hards versus 8-lap-old hards here as Sabakonyi tries to close in and take the race win.
Diego Zorzo, meanwhile, is trying to get aggressive further back as well. He's coming alive in this race. He was going chasing there of Liam Stevens, who shut the door on him as he was trying to attempt to move to the outside of Ferradura. He couldn't do so. What about a chance down towards the center S, though, this time by? He's definitely got some battery to burn. The Red Bull driver trying to get himself into the top 5 as well. They've both got DRS, but he'll be gaining and getting closer all the while. Meanwhile, the top 2 are doing exactly that. Dive bomb from Diego Zorzo. At least an attempted dive bomb there, because it was late on the brakes. I thought he was going to go all in for that overtake, but it was quite brave. He was trying to scare his rival off the road, but you need to do a lot to try and get Liam Stevens out of your way. He is an experienced driver, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's managing this race well, despite fading right now at the moment on lap 33.
Yep, and there's a lot of battling going. Safety car! There's a safety car deployed here with 3 laps to go, and that is absolutely game-changing here. That is race-changing, and that is the 2nd safety car of the season, and it comes in the final 3 laps of the championship.
Conrad Bohm with a moment. Conrad Bohm losing his front wing in dramatic fashion, and that will cause the safety car, and that is going to leave us set for a shootout in our season finale here in PSGL PCF2 Season 40. It is all to play for from this point onwards. The safety car's out, and Brazil delivers once again. Absolutely extraordinary. And Conrad Bohm, well, I guess something has gone wrong further back for him. But here we go, a complete different scenario coming our way now.
Yep, this is really going to be the change of the race here. As Sabakonyi, he decides to go for track position because he doesn't want to double stack with Stachulek. So that is definitely an interesting choice, and Hightower as well has to make that sacrifice, but they all are going to pile on to the soft compound tyres, and it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. This is going to be full send to the end of the race, and this really puts Stachulek into a good position as he's ahead of Rapasa, and he has 3 cars in front of him, and if he can just get a buffer between himself and Rapasa and then go on to overtake the other 2, it could be well and truly game on for him. But then again, overtaking is tricky. 2 laps with a bit of battery. One of the drivers that stayed out could well and truly take this one.
Yeah, because they're going to have quite a few cars to try and get through. Well, in Stachulek's case, only he's going to get 3, but 2 laps could definitely change things up. Here we go then. It is going to be time for a 2-lap shootout. The safety car will be coming in surely at the end of this lap. Of course, the game needs 2 laps of racing all the way till the end, so the field hasn't caught up. There's the official confirmation. Safety car will be in, and it will be time now for the green flags to fly. Ben Sabakonyi trying to get himself to what would be an extraordinary victory. We've got 1 Alpine deciding to stay out. We've got 1 who has gone for the soft, and he's the leading driver on the soft as well. So Alpine find themselves in a good position. It could be going either way for a team which has 2 talented drivers who work together so many times. And now for a bit of a sprint all the way till the checkered flag. The field is being backed up, and it will all be down to Ben Sabakonyi as he gets his foot to the floor. And meanwhile, Ranieri is already neck and neck with Tony Hietala down towards the center as we go. We are racing once again for the final 2 laps of the season, and Hietala not wasting any time, but it's going to be Ranieri who moves up to 2nd place, and meanwhile Stachulek now needs to go on the attack and try to take 3rd.
Yep, here comes Stachulek heading down the Retta Raposta and in towards the Cedar Delago. He's forced to the grass. Now he's on the outside line. He sweeps around the outside of Hightower to get that one. Now here comes Rapasa heading in towards turn 6 and 7. They swap places to Hightower and Rapasa as the soft tyre runners are still moving forward. They only have 2 cars between themselves and victory as here comes Stevens down the inside of turn 8. Now through turn 9, he's also on the back of Rapasa. Zorzo moving up past Gabor, and now Quintino moves up past Imtiaz, but all eyes to this man here, Stachulek. He's down the inside of the flat-out left-hander and is ahead now of Ranieri. So is Rapasa as we head towards the final lap of this race. It's Sabakonyi leading the way, but he's on old hard tyres with only a 4/10 advantage.
Absolutely all to play for. Here we go then, down towards the center S. Ben Sabakonyi trying to get himself to another victory after such a long time. And now they make their way through. There's overtaking absolutely everywhere across this field at the moment. But the biggest overtake of the race could be coming our way in a few moments' time. Rapasa will be there as well. It could be very nearly 3 wide. It's Stachulek who looks to the outside line, and Stachulek takes the lead. His teammate doesn't find that one. And now Rapasa has an important move to make, an important move that he does make into Ferradura.
Yep, he takes P2, but Stachulek takes the lead here on the last lap after the last minute safety car. But now it's a game of can he hold on, or are we going to have a drag race towards the line? Rapasa is not done yet as Liam Stevens takes the last podium place off of Sabakonyi now in what was looking like it could be a blockbuster finish for Sabakonyi. It's now going to be a drag race towards the line here on lap 36 of 36 in Interlagos. It's to end the championship championship here in Brazil. It's season 40 waved goodbye, and now it's looking like it's going to go Stachelek's way, and Piotr Stachelek just about takes it home. Stachelek wins the race in dramatic fashion with Rapasa only 900ths behind, and that is such a fantastic finish to the round and to the season as Liam Stevens rounds out the podium places.
Absolutely fantastic scenes all the way to it, all the way till the end. What a way to complete our season. Well, it has been a season which has had those lower periods quite a lot across the campaign due to the game. But when we end it like that, when we end it with such close margins to the line, it means absolutely everything to Stachelek, who has done the job absolutely brilliantly as he gets himself to what will be a moment that he'll want to savour for a long, long time to come indeed. PCF2, well, it has been a while, and Stachelek finding himself all the way in contention and getting himself to a first win at this level.
Yep, and what a fantastic race that was. That last safety car, so unexpected. It was almost over. There was 3 laps to go, but in the end, it changed the race. And from 7th on the grid, Stachelek is the winner, and then Rapasa from 900ths behind. Then Liam Stevens rounds out the podium from Sabakonyi, Zorzo, Ranielli, Quintino, Reyes Imtiaz, Florian Van Zelter, then Rashawn Jacobs, Heitzeller, Gabor, Conrad Bohm, Larry Tulke, Alves, Dowds, and Sergio Sabrina and Molnar. And what a race that was.
Absolute box office. That is why you tune in to the biggest racing league on the F1 game here on this Thursday as well. PSGL delivering all the way till the end. And well, I mean, we had to, of course, find ourselves. We of course have to find ourselves getting rid of the final round of the season at Mexico, and this turned out to become our finale to end it on a high. And I think that was a good decision because we have guaranteed that we've ended it on a high as well. You don't get it closer than that. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that was an absolute blockbuster finish, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like it here, but it's in PSGL PCF2, where anything can happen, that we had an absolute carnage end to the race, pandemonium to infinity there at the end, and that is, like, that's a blockbuster finish way to end the season. That is fantastic.
All on the line, drivers going for it, champion crowned. That is exactly the reason why you tune in to join us for one final race as well, even though everything was sorted and decided. That is going to be one of those great finishes that we have seen in the past, but to see it on this game where it is so tricky to follow closely and the slipstream not as powerful, meaning you wouldn't really get to see as many drag races to the line, but that was absolutely in the balance till the end, and that was fantastic to watch and witness as we conclude another great season of PSGL racing.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Omi, but I think that might do it here, but what a way to end it. Do you have any last remarks or statements towards this season or heading into the next one?
Well, I think we have to end it with a lot of thank yous as well. First of all, to all of the drivers. The drivers that we came into this season with, we maintained all the way till the end, which was absolutely remarkable. Now, while the final round was cancelled due to attendance, it wasn't due to PCF2, it was due to a lot of the other tiers as well. So it was done due to the merging factors, that we didn't want to actually merge any of those tiers. So that's why we ended early. But this tier had no part in terms of attendance issues. It has been fantastic all the way through. Same applies to F3 as well, which delivered a fantastic championship battle. I think we have to say also Angelo Di Ortenzio, well, he has done absolutely fantastic this season. Your first ever 2-time champion in tier history, and he has broken records. He now finds himself leading the way in a lot of records. He finds himself with the most wins in PSGL PCF2 history. He's been able to get to 3rd when it comes to all-time podiums as well, and in terms of pole positions, of course, he also leads the way in that. So it has been such a successful season, but I'd also like to, of course, thank all of the admin team, the stewarding team as well, and of course a lot of the commentators that we've had across the season who have joined myself. We've had too many, so I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but they all know who they are, so huge thank you. And of course to you, Lindsay, for joining me for this season finale, but I guess it's all going to be eyes to season 41 now.
Yeah, it absolutely will be, and thank you for being here for the final round, Omi. And yeah, it was great to be here in the PSGL commentary box to witness that, and I think that's the season. So, on that note, that is going to be all from us here in the commentary box. I've been Lindsay Model, and I've been joined by Omi in the commentary box here for this PC F2 finale. Congratulations to all of the drivers, to Piotr Stachelek for the win tonight, and everybody else along the way. And now it's onwards and upwards towards season 41. But for us here in the commentary box, that is going to be all. I hope you all have a good rest of your night or morning wherever you are. I know for me, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm about to go back to bed, but that is going to be all here. So thank you everybody for watching and have a good night.